Good afternoon. I hope you can see and hear me okay. I'm just going to get myself sorted. These are scam ads I'm collecting. I'm going to be reporting Meta to the Irish authorities because they are freely allowing phishing scam ads. This is how I got my six-figure sum stolen. This is a deliberate act on Meta's behalf to willfully ignore these. I have to post my own warnings because I don't want people going through what I went through. I don't work for them. I shouldn't be doing this. An absolute disgrace. But that's enough about that. You can see I've got tons and tons of these scam emails. They're just awful. Now, if you do not download anything from Facebook, that's the end of that. We're going to be talking about the football now. I'm just going to get rid of these apps I've been updating. Been working on this app at the moment, looking to go deep dive into teams. I don't know if this is accurate or not yet, because Chelsea were apparently playing a team called, what was it? Inter Villa. So some placeholders. So we'll get rid of that. Head off to YouTube and make sure I'm not talking to myself. Already had a great day with Coventry, especially. Really solid stuff there. Laid Chelsea late on. It's only a 1.02, 1.09. Celta Vigo and Alaves are backed 1-2 and 2-1. It's suspended at the moment. Hopefully it'll be a 1-1. That would be very nice indeed. So let me just get to the live environment and make sure I'm not yabbering on to myself. I've got to keep an eye on Ethereum, by the way, because I've got a spread bet position on it. It's all about these two lines here. You can see can't break through, can't break through. When it does break through, it goes to the 30-minute and off we go. We're going to go back up again. But let's get live. I hope you're all well. I'm in Guernsey, Channel Islands now. It's a miserable day, but it's a beautiful, beautiful island. It's a pity it's so expensive to live on. Please, can you sign in? Just say a hello in the comments if you can see and hear me, and if there are any issues with the sound, if you could please let me know. Michael Pigeon, lovely to see you. And Paul Mallon, great to see you. I hope you both managed to make a nice profit on Coventry earlier on. Really good stuff. Just making my way through here. You saw yesterday an absolute pig's ear for those Friday matches. Post-international break, I would blame that on. It's completely spoilt any semblance of consistency and momentum these sides had. So let's work our way down. I'm going to be ignoring a lot of these. We're waiting for Deportivo Alaves and Celta Vigo to do something. It's a speculative play. That's why it's only a £4.92 liability. I'm hoping that Alaves will equalise to keep that both teams to score pattern, which both teams have very strongly. With that in mind, I'll just make sure I've got the research up because I've done all of the research. I might as well use it. My apologies for the XG reports today. They've got a blank page at the start. I've got AI worked on it and it is fixed, but you're still getting some very good details as well. So let's have a look at Celta Vigo and Alaves all the way down here. Only one home defeat. Both teams have scored an all bar one. Two consecutive away wins, the only away wins. 1-1 sequence has been banished by 3 matches. Last 3 matches that they've found that second goal. So that's what I was pinning my hopes on today. Not arrived yet, but again, a £4 liability. You can actually just leave it alone. You can wipe it because it's not going to affect your livelihood or your betting bank, is it? Nice to see you, Stephen. I hope you're well. Let's see if we can make you some gains today. We're already in a good position thanks to Frank Lampard's Coventry. Just such a great trading match, wasn't it? Everything went our way, apart from that 0-2. But that's when I got involved at the 0-2. Didn't get involved at the 0-1. Delighted. We can get rid of a few of these. So we'll unpack that one. Celta Vigo and Alaves. I haven't done my bet and goes today. I've been too busy. I'm going to have to organise that. So the spreadsheet's going to be missing today. What a pity. It's a start, again, collecting bet and goes. And I will be analysing them, I think, at the end of November with another month under our belts. I'm sure we're going to see some proper patterns emerging. And that's what my goal is to get you some really good odds only patterns emerging. So I've got plenty of angles to look at, and some of them have been handed to me by Guy. So thank you very much for that, Guy. But I'm afraid I've missed today now because the Bundesliga has already started. So that's a pity. But plenty of analysis, which I will get ChatGPT and Gemini onto. They are extremely good pattern seekers. ChatGPT showed me it in the computer repair shop last Friday. It found the pattern and it told the staff member, you take off the back of the computer, affix the ribbon, and it's a clean fix. What did they do? Told me this computer I'm talking to you on is a write-off, sold me a laptop for 250 quid. I went home, I fixed it myself. I came back yesterday, got a full refund, and I did let both barrels go on the scanning clowns. So be careful when you're ever, a car repair shop, a computer repair shop where they think they have the greater knowledge. I'm afraid they are way off, because I've already, in response to that, built a computer diagnostics app. So this will, in the future, ensure that I don't get done at all. It'll take you through absolutely everything. So delighted with that. And it's got video and audio. They were literally shaking in their boots because they know that I'm right. You don't make money from a customer with a 5-minute fix, do you? Absolute disgraceful con artists selling old age pensioners 55 quid antivirus as well. And you don't need antivirus. Absolute disgrace. But sod that. Let's get on with the footy. That's what you're here for. Celta Vigo, as we know, just that small 2-1-1-2. It might still come alive. It's a very, very strong both teams to score habit for both teams. But Celta Vigo desperately seeking to avoid those damn 1-1s. And you can see in those last 5 matches that has been successful. I'll just get rid of a few of these screens so we can start getting going. And I'll keep an eye on this ever so cautiously. The German Bundesliga beginning today. Please remember that the Champions League and post-international break is going to affect one or two of these teams. But so far, it's 100% strike rate for Champions League sides Chelsea and Marseille. Is that a signal that they're not overtly affected? Or is it the fact that they're playing weaker opponents? Certainly in Chelsea's case, you're expecting a 100% win rate against Burnley all the time. Let's just work our way down. I like to do it this way because you never know, you might come across a match which stands out. And Serie B is worth our while. You can see here, starting to wake up Virtus, Entella and Palermo, something I could potentially investigate at half time, see whether they've got a good rate of ending 0-0s at half time. Well, that's not a surprise, is it? Bayer Leverkusen scoring before half time. Cagliari and Genoa might be on to another 2-1. 4 consecutive 2-1 scorelines for Genoa away from home. That draw, 1-1 at half time, suggesting you lay that draw second half. Genoa's consistent 2-1 habit. Bayer Leverkusen, we know very well. Goal before half-time, both teams to score. Okay, they are post-international pre-Champions League, might be vulnerable, but started off brightly. You don't know with Bayer Leverkusen, I prefer delaying, but you can see they're so consistent. Only once have they failed to get that goal before half-time this season. So maybe you do it right at the off, lay 0-0 in the half-time score market, something like that. Serie B, anything else catching our eye? It's going to take a lot for me to get involved in Serie B today. Serie A, Udinese and Bologna. If Udinese score first today, Bologna have scored 2 goals in 7 of their last 8 matches. Talk about consistency. So we do have a potential play there if Udinese score the first goal. They look good. Their expected goals is positive 0.56 and 0.05 for Bologna. They're not quite got going just yet. Dukla Prague and Sigma Olomouc, I can get rid of that league. The Czech league, we're not going to be playing that today. Already made a decent return on Coventry. We don't need to be blowing it on these secondary leagues today. So that will say bye-bye. We'll say goodbye to that one. Turkish Yorkshiremen, we can say goodbye to them. Eyüpspor. Now we've got our first cock-up, potentially, of the weekend. Now it's difficult because Bayern Munich are such strong favourites. You're not going to get much value here. So I hope you're all okay over on YouTube and everything's functioning well. I'll have to be ending this live stream at 5 p.m. on the dot or earlier because I'm getting picked up and I've got to move to my brother's place with my sister arriving from Australia. First time she's seen my mum and dad for a very, very long time. My mum can't travel anymore, so I'm letting her stay with the folks so they can really catch up, which will be great. Because my old ma's getting a hip operation, poor thing. So I wish her all the well. Cagliari and Genoa will be looking at this 2-1, 1-2, as I say, if it's 0-0, if it's 1-1 at half time. Surely, to goodness, that draw sequence could be vulnerable second half. We will see. German Bundesliga. If you want to have a look to see whether it's going to be goals, goals, goals for the German Bundesliga today, you might want to just look at, go to accumulators, over and under 2.5 goals at odds checker, anything 1.6 and lower. So why don't I just take a few screenshots now so I can add them to the spreadsheet a little bit later on. So you can already see that the Liverpool match is 1.58. And these tend to be quite accurate, to be honest. So I'm just going to get the screenshots and type this up later on. So you can see 1.58 Liverpool. Keep an eye out on them today. New manager Nottingham Forest. It's a tricky match for Liverpool, post-international pre-Champions League. And you've already seen the pig's ear Arne Slot's made of some recent matches. This is typical of the Championship. It's 50-50 whether you're going to get overs or unders. English League One, English League Two, we know all about them, don't we? Best to be approached with kid gloves, to be honest with you. Scottish Premier League, Rangers, obviously, under. Over 2.5 goals is very, very strong there. They have been starting to score again after that little blip early on, but this was Bundesliga we're interested in. 1.4, well, we've already got a goal come in. 1.5, already got a goal come in. But 1.55 Dortmund against Stuttgart. Expectation for goals there today. Generally speaking, this is what you see every weekend. In Germany, over 2.5 goal. A very strong pattern. And there we go. That's the 1-2 for Genoa. But they weren't listening to me. I wanted that goal second half. Having thought about it, should have really done a 2-1 and a 1-2 before half time, really, to get some value out of it. Bayern Munich and Freiburg. Let's just bring that up. Absolutely no value to be had unless you play the half-time market. I'm not going to be backing Bayern Munich at 1.61 in this post-international pre-Champions League weekend. Likely Bayern Munich will be fielding a changed side, I would suspect, but that's just a guess. One element that we are missing is Soccer 24. So make sure you pick up your odds on favourites. Again, 2 Champions League sides playing in Belgium. Very, very cautious indeed. We can get rid of the Chinese Super League. Very early start today, 7:30 a.m. Dinamo Zagreb doing a job. Not going to be playing the Czech 1 League today. Moving down, Premier League. How many odds on favourites do we have today? Quite a few, all bar one. And then Fulham are only just odds against. They've actually drifted. Brighton and Brentford, I'll take that off because that's 2.15. So we've got a lot of odds on favourites today. Champions League, Manchester City and Newcastle. Champions League, Liverpool. I'm surprised that Spuds aren't playing today because they're involved in the Champions League. Birmingham City, odds on. Ipswich Town, odds on. Leicester, odds on. Middlesbrough, odds on. The usual crew, basically. Odds on in English League One. It's the only way I would play these leagues. A major focus on the odds on favourites. Okay, that's just drifted. It was odds on when I did the list. English League Two. It's looking at a tough old league today. Oldham and Newport. And now we're getting a bit more value with that Freiburg 0-2 lead. So we will be getting Bayern at over evens. I'd actually laid Marseille at these odds yesterday, so you could have actually laid Bayern Munich at the off at these odds. But this is the weekend to take these boys on, isn't it? So you'd be keen to keep an eye on the Bayer Leverkusen match in case this remains 0-1 for a concerted period of time. They could be vulnerable today. It is the weekend for it, isn't it? Well, 2-1's finished for Genoa. 2-2 possibilities. Cagliari, this is very rare for them. Normally a defensive unit, so that will be interesting. Pre-Champions League, Juventus a bit later on. Napoli and Atalanta wouldn't be touching that one with stolen money. So Derby is post and pre-Champions League. So let's just carry on through. Any other odds on favourites? Carrarese and Reggiana, Padua and Venezia. But again, we don't have to fixate too much on this. The Eredivisie I would call an elite league, but my major focus is Italy, Spain, Germany and England above the Eredivisie. But there is a hierarchy of favourites in the Eredivisie. PSV and Feyenoord, of course, absolutely stand out for me from a trading perspective. Been solid throughout this season. Got an odds on in Norway, but we don't have to focus on these leagues today. We don't have to push ourselves to these lower tiers, but just be interesting to see if there are any angles there. There's Cracovia and Motor Lublin. Taca de Portugal, not going to be playing that today. Lack of liquidity, I would suggest as well. But you can have some fun with Sporting Lisbon. 5-0 to 9-0. Similar Porto, 5-0 to 9-0. If you fancy the punt on that. Spanish La Liga, well, Celta Vigo, loving this. But if you fancy the late lay, given that ridiculous 1-1 habit of theirs, I would recommend getting below 1.1. And you can just lay 23 quid for £2 liability. And then lay at 1.06 for a £32 liability. £32 stake, keeping your liability at £4 maximum. Both teams have scored in all bar one Alaves home match, I believe. Celta Vigo have that very, very strong embedded both teams to score pattern. This, again, keeps your liability very, very low. They have that amazing inability to get a 1-0 Celta Vigo, so at all times, very, very targetable. Late on, especially. It's just playing on their minds, isn't it? Barcelona, Atletico Bilbao, both teams involved in the Champions League. Not touching this one with a barge pole. And Villarreal, electric form at the moment, particularly at home, all wins bar a draw. So they're really going to get a good look in today. Those are our elite leagues. Galatasaray involved in European club competition, I believe, Champions League. That looks targetable, particularly if they lead 1-0. You're going to get really short odds. So let's have a look. I was going to say, let's have a look at Bayern Munich, 0-2 up, but I've missed the opportunity there. I hope you've got involved yourself. Sorry about that. 0-2 was the entry point, and please don't wait for me to take action. Some of you are experienced enough that you would have had a look there at 0-2 without waiting for my prompting, I hope. But we've missed the real value, which would have been over evens. That very, very good odds. Bear in mind, it's so early in the match. Getting 2.7, 2.5, about a 1.18 shot with 20 minutes to go, 20 minutes gone, is absolutely superb. If this remains 1-2, and if we can get Bayern Munich up to evens, then I would consider a match odds play there. But 0-2 was the entry point. So we've missed that opportunity, alas. So let me just, yeah, that's the Bayern Munich confirmation of the goal there. So I'll just clean up a bit of this. Bologna did have a goal disallowed. Surely, to goodness, with that 2+ goals scored in 7 of the last 8, that draw is vulnerable second half, isn't it? Look at the expected goals as well, 0.65 for Udinese, 0.84 for Bologna. And I'll just see whether I produced any reports for that particular match. No, this is Bologna-Napoli. So I could go through the XG now and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's get the XG analyzer up. And we'll take the Bologna match through the ringer. Who are they playing again? Udinese against Bologna. Okay. So I hope to have this thing up and ready for you in the new year. Deciding on the costings as well, whether we can incorporate that. But you're going to find it very useful, but it still has some problems. It produced a ridiculous expected goals for Wolves earlier on, above 2. So these, I can't afford for you guys to try and notice any errors. I noticed the error because it's way off kilter. But this needs to be accurate right at the off. So let's just see what the Udinese-Bologna match reveals as far as the expected goals is concerned. And you would, I suspect, see a very strong Bologna side. Bayer Leverkusen 0-2 becoming layable, aren't they? Pre-Champions League. We know they have a both teams to score habit as well. But we are seeing these Champions League sides today really delivering. So it might not be the curse of the Champions League today. Somehow they don't seem to be negatively affected, which is interesting. Let's go back. We haven't had any analysis yet from the XG. This is probably over ensuring or over checking that the stats are accurate. So I like that. We've got a suspended market. That's probably the Bayern Munich match, I would suspect. No, it's the end of the Alaves Celta Vigo match. Celta Vigo avoiding a draw, which is wonderful news for them and their manager. Don't need that kind of nonsense, do they? We'll get rid of Dinamo Zagreb, already very strong favourites. Avellino and Empoli, do check out your 0-2 leads away from home. You could get an interesting play, particularly if it's an underdog who has scored that goal. So let's have a look at Italian Serie B, Avellino and Empoli as the 3 o'clocks just push that match down. It's 2.55 the favourite, but you can quite clearly see, it's a thoroughly deserved lead for Empoli, isn't it? This is what I'm talking about with 2.55 the favourite matches. You have to default to the in-play stats because quite clearly the market makers have not managed to find themselves a favoured side. So you default to the in-play stats. Now, if this was 0-0 and we saw this kind of a thing at half-time, you could take a chance on laying the draw second half. Nice and simple. Udinese in Bologna just looks like it is a lay the draw, doesn't it? Second half. Again, if you wanted to create better value and i.e. keep your liability low, over 2.5 goals with a slant at Bologna scoring 2 goals as they have done in 7 of the last 8. Bang. That already gives you an interest in the match for very, very low liability indeed, doesn't it? That's an option. The obvious option for me is that lay the draw at already decent odds. Now, these odds are suspiciously low for a 0-0 at half time. Okay, just thought I'd warn you. Far, far too low for a 0-0 at half time. So that raises some eyebrows for me. Normally, we're going to see the draw at half-time at about 3.2, 3.3, 3.4 or thereabouts. And then what we normally do, just hold on a second, try to get better odds. But that is far too short. Very suspicious. You could lay over 0.5 goals. This is far too high. So I don't like that configuration at all. Why? The expected goals is very decent. This lot have an extremely good 2-goal habit. Bologna, 7 of the last 8 matches. Let's just check the research, which I've done specifically with this in mind. 3 out of 4 defeats came away for Udinese, losing to decent teams like AC Milan, Juve and Roma. That's why they're a little bit tight today, Udinese. 2 consecutive home wins. That's scuppered by the international break, of course, and a strong both teams to score pattern. 2-goal heroes, 7 of the last 8. Only 2 losses came in the first 2 away matches. So we've got an Udinese who it's very difficult to beat unless you're one of the big guns. Bologna got 2 goals in the locker. The market, it's telling you that Udinese are on top defensively, and the market is favouring an under 1.5 goal or under 2.5 goal match. But seasonal stats are suggesting the possibility of Bologna nailing 2 goals today. Who's right? Well, we will soon find out. There's the XG report on Udinese and Bologna. And what can you see here yourselves if you're reading it? You will see an Udinese bereft of attacking intent, 1.02 expected goals in offence. Don't forget, this is the average. It does tend to be a really good gauge because if you compare it with Bologna's average expected goals away, they are cancelling each other out, aren't they? Bologna, very tough to score 2 goals against, even 1. But Bologna's scoring 1.69, heading towards 2 goals a game, creating enough solid chances for 2 goals a game, playing an Udinese side who do keep things tight. That's why we've got this 0-0 currently. It's attack v defence, isn't it? Recent form, well, the analyst summary. Let's see what AI has to say about this. Bologna entered the match as the superior side based on underlying metrics, indeed. Plus 77 expected goals differential is superb. So they're far better attack-wise than they are conceding. So that is an excellent. Recent 2-0 victory over Napoli demonstrates their ability to control high-profile matches. Udinese will need to overperform their XG to get a result here. Indeed. Quite right, isn't it? They've got to overperform because they're playing a side who are very tight defensively. That will reveal why it's 0-0 at half-time. Hope you're all okay. Could you lay under 1.5 goals at 1.48? It's very high odds, Michael, isn't it? 1.48, because you're pretty much, let's say you've got a, let's show you the liability increase at 1.48. Well, let's go for 1.45. You can see how liability increases quickly. 11 quid, you're paying a £5 liability. Is it worth your while? It's a 1 to 2. You see that problem there. Over 1.5 goals, I suspect, Michael, you might be onto something. But that's 1.5 as well. So interesting. You're getting more bang for your buck with this one, aren't you? Covering more outcomes. So an interesting question there from Michael. This is probably one of those matches you'll have to sit on it because it's a suspicious market. These draw odds are far, far too low. That was the Bologna goal disallowed. This will tell you if Bologna score what they're likely to go up to. Okay. It's a very suspicious market. We don't have to push today because we have that post-international pre-Champions League conundrum to try to work our way around. 3 o'clocks are beginning, so we're going to get a whole raft of them coming in now. Union St-Gilloise, be very careful. Champions League, Union St-Gilloise. Bournemouth in really good form. It takes a big boy to beat Bournemouth. 2 consecutive away defeats, though, against Man City and Aston Villa. But again, these are European candidates they are losing to. West Ham under Nuno Espirito Santo. I wish he was back at Wolves, to be honest. Dug out a couple of wins for them at home. Or a win and a draw at the very least. Competitive. Well, Bayer Leverkusen are going to be layable, certainly at the beginning of the second half at these odds. Certainly. I'll be entertaining that second half. Just because it's Champions League weekend, okay? No other reason. There's no point laying Bayer Leverkusen at 0-3 unless it's post-international pre-Champions League. Dortmund have the lead against Stuttgart. Brum have the lead against Norwich. Our odds-on favourites will go into the My Games list here. So we will be alerted whenever there's an odds-on favourite goal. So let's just investigate Birmingham. Indeed, Birmingham, the favourites at 1.62. So there's nothing really for us to trigger a potential trading outcome there. Yeah, nothing much doing at the moment with that one. And Dortmund, we do know, are odds-on favourite at home. Stuttgart are involved in Europe, but not this week. So they are having one of their better seasons, Stuttgart. But Dortmund, the yellow wall, very tough to beat. We can, again, just show you the strengths and weaknesses of both sides, Dortmund and Stuttgart. We've got a goal come in. Mansfield and Huddersfield. It's not come up on my odds-on list here, because if it would come up at the bottom here. So don't need to investigate all of these League One and League Two matches. Primary focus is on the odds-on favourites. Dundee United and Falkirk in the Scottish, is it Championship or League One? Premiership, sorry. So just have a quick check, see who is the favourite in that one. My problem with Scotland is it can be lacking some liquidity. So let's just do a bit of tidying up here as we work our way down to our Scottish friends. We'll just clean this up. So we've got a 0-0. Oh no, coming up. Spanish Secunda, might as well keep an eye on that one, even though it's not prioritised today at all. Barcelona Athletic, incredibly difficult to trust either side today. Dundee United and Falkirk, 1.95 home favourite. Dundee United today. Falkirk have taken the lead. Do you trust the market? Do we need to play the SPL? Or should we remain solidly with our elite leagues? I think the latter. Or if you're going to play these lower tiers, at least have an out liability-wise. Third of liability is lost, perhaps, or a predetermined time you're going to give a side to score their goals. St Johnstone, I will always be keeping an eye on. They are your archetypal side, newly relegated and enjoying it in these lower tiers. So St Johnstone, part of my watch list, a bit like Bodo Glimt yesterday, the old reliables you can tend to just cling on to, and they too tend to deliver. St J are having an excellent season, highly likely to be going straight back up. Carrarese and Reggiana, look at the XGs for these as the second half begins. 0.11, 0.29. My God, awful stuff. Any odds on favourites? No surprises just yet. That Cardiff match must be an over evens the favourite match because it's not come up here. So, working our way down, get rid of the lower tiers in Scotland. The liquidity issues are a problem, and it's been a wonderful week watching these internationals. Absolutely wonderful. I'm delighted for Steve Clarke. I've never seen him smile. First time ever I've seen Steve Clarke smile was midweek, particularly with that McLean 9-iron shot over Schmeichel. It was a sight to behold. It's like watching Brazil. Unbelievable, Jeff. Superb stuff. We'll keep the Bundesliga up. The goals are flowing, but as you can hear, there's nothing from an odds-on perspective because we would get an alert with that. So I'm just tidying this up. There's so much football, you need to be alert to it. Bournemouth, Wolves. Now, on a weekend like this, I would recommend you use something like camel1.live if you don't have a stream and you want to stream. But please do run your antivirus, okay? Because there might be some advertising trackers they put in. But I can't fault this website at all. I don't know what the game is. Why are they doing it for free? I'm not going to show you a match, but this is a really, really good resource for the football trader because you can see, particularly in a weekend like this, how are this lot performing? Are they fatigued? Are they under par? So you would perhaps enter the match at 0-2, seeing whether this lot are up for it or not. That would be a great match as well, the 3 o'clock to watch, to see what kind of a mood Liverpool are in. Borussia Dortmund and Stuttgart, well, it looks very similar, doesn't it? Both teams, exceptional chances to score 2 goals. Anything over 1.5, and they are backing it up defensively as well. So, a conundrum. Can those defences hold out and not concede that 2 goals that both sides are capable of scoring? Fascinating XG there, isn't it? And I do like this now. It really does tell and give you a clear picture of teams' strengths and weaknesses throughout. So let's just tidy up our 3 o'clocks. And again, we don't have to pressure ourselves into a trade. Coventry have got us off to a good start. Any non-strong plays, got to at all times keep that liability issue intact. I did warn you about Rangers at 1.58 on the old odds checker, 2.5 goals, and already we've got the first goal from them. So it is a good indicator, particularly for goals before half time as well. But these patterns we will be finding out once I've got ChatGPT and Gemini analysing and finding patterns. ChatGPT is superb at pattern finding. I'm looking forward to its analysis. If it's as good at computer diagnostics as it is elsewhere, we're going to be in good hands with ChatGPT. I really like it at the moment. Embarrassed the bleep out of that repair shop yesterday. I wish I'd recorded it. Wonderful stuff. They were scouring under the table as I told them it was a 5-minute job, and you've charged me 230 quid, you cheeky bastards. West Ham have the opening goal against Bournemouth, and don't forget it's a Nuno Espirito Santo West Ham. It's a new manager West Ham, so we could get a surprise result. But the fact of the matter is that Bournemouth are a tough nut to crack. They really are. So it's a difficult one. We know they've got solid goals in them, but we also know Nuno, for me, is an exceptional manager. The stuff he did at Wolves was brilliant. Brought the Portuguese accent to the Midlands. So I'm a little reticent about pulling the trigger just yet. I was going to show you Bournemouth's form, because they don't lose that often. 2 consecutive losses, but that's Europa League Aston Villa, Champions League Manchester City, and all the way back at the start of the season, Champions League Liverpool. So they're a tough nut to crack. Nuno Espirito's getting a tune out of the hamsters. 3 goals scored in the last 2 matches. So I am reluctant to take on that lead, even though it does take a big team to beat the Cherries. In-play stats, of course, will reveal if there's a vulnerability with Nuno Espirito's side today. So let's just go through our watch list. I hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Michael's going to split stake into 4 and drip lay under 1.5 goals. I think drip laying is a great idea. Yeah, I do like drip laying particularly. I used to do it at 1.25 and lower at the end of matches. A fiver here in little increments: 1.25, 1.19, 1.14, 1.09, and 1.06. That way, you can get involved earlier than is normal, and if you pick up the win, at least you're going to pick something up. And at all times, the liability is kept low, and the returns are pretty decent. So Udinese and Bologna. Michael, I think, has gone for the insurance on the 0-0, which I think is a very wise move. It just screams out a suggestion of goals today, but the market is suspiciously, you don't get 2.2 draw at half-time that often. You really don't. Not in matches where goals are expected, or indeed with a team scoring 2+ goals in 7 of the last 8 matches, as Bologna have. I'm going to be laying Bayer Leverkusen just for the bleep of it, because it's pre-Champions League. Again, keep your liability low. This is the only time you'll be doing this particular weekend. You just never know. Fatigue could play a part. Champions League distraction could play a part. And all you need is this kind of a liability. And you've got that 64 quid potentially working for you. And it's before half-time as well. So we get a goal before half-time. It's 1-3 particularly. That will shake that up severely. highly unlikely to clear. It looks as if these Champions League sides are getting away with it today, doesn't it? They're playing weaker opposition. Dinamo Zagreb 3-0. I think we can dispense with that match now. Odds on favourite, absolutely over delivering 53rd minute. We don't need to be alerted to that anymore. Sparta Prague, are they involved in European club competition? I'm not too sure. Nothing much of importance here at the moment because if it was odds on, I would have heard about it. And again, a 0-3 lead so early on. We'll have a look at Mansfield against Huddersfield. This is English. Which English league is it? I don't follow these, you see, week in, week out. Tell me which league, please. Come on. Mansfield v Huddersfield. We'll keep an eye out on that one. Any lead like this, emphatic, or so it seems, you've got a really good entry point because that team will have switched off. Simple as that. It's a human thing, isn't it? They will think it's done and dusted and they'll switch off. So let's see if I can find Mansfield and Huddersfield. So we'll go here. Control and F. So this is English League One. Okay, right. And it's 2.57 the favourite. So yet again, you're getting these unexpected score lines with 2.5 plus the favourite. That's why I warn you against it so often. Bayern Munich, obvious play there, wasn't it? But the value was in the 0-2. And I hope one or two of you picked that one up yourselves. Looks like they're delivering, don't they, the Champions League sides today. So we might not be getting that Champions League international break curse just yet. But one or two of these teams are going to cock it up. Mansfield and Huddersfield. Let's have a look at the market. That's a great example to you of why I avoid 2.5 the favourite matches. These scorelines are just totally and utterly unexpected. And that is relatively high for a 3-0 lead, got to say. So just a £3 liability there. Let's not overextend ourselves in these poor leagues where it's highly likely that Huddersfield will go on and get the win. I'll just pass this one on to Telegrammers. Look at that. We're not even on the 20-minute mark, are we? We can check the goals, perhaps. Maybe one of them was a penalty. We don't know. Let's have a look. Mansfield 0, Huddersfield 3, I think. Laying Huddersfield at 1.07 is an excellent value lay. Let's face it, we're not even on the 20-minute mark. We've got 70 minutes to go. It's 2.5 the favourite match. I think Huddersfield might think it's job done. Mansfield, if they can get a goal before half-time, that will shake the trees and we'll only have a 2-goal deficit. So 1.07 lay of Huddersfield. Again, don't overextend your liability. It's a very poor league, the League One, for us traders to rely on. Like it. I like that lay. It looks good, doesn't it? QPR and Hull. We've got a goal in an odds-on favourite match. So let's just check that one out. QPR and Hull, 1.86 favourite. Hull have taken the lead. That's the reason I do these odds-on favourites. So now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be heading over here, going to be going to the English Championship and looking at that QPR Hull match and monitoring it now to see why QPR were odds-on favourite at home. Check out the goal for Hull. Was it an own goal? Was it a goal from open play, etc.? So let me just get that one up. English Championship. Have I missed it? QPR and Hull. And already you can clearly see, I think, the possibility that QPR are competitive today. So let's look at this Hull goal. Is it a penalty? Is it an own goal? No, it's Gerhardt doing a good job. But if this marries what I'm seeing, 0.92 XG, very, very good, considering we are only 20 minutes into the match. So creating quality chances, enough quality chances for a single goal. It looks as if Hull are very lucky. And there's the Bologna goal. Did you lay the draw second half? I wish I'd gone for it. I'm just suspicious of the draw odds, so low. But Bologna, 2+ goal habit. Bang, in it goes. So I should stick to my own personal instincts. Maybe the market's got it wrong, not me. So that was a profit gone awry there. What a pity. Bologna doing what Bologna do. So value, I was just suspicious. It was far too short at half time. But then glass half full, and with them having a goal disallowed, which affected the market. So obviously it was a tight affair. Should have laid that draw at about 2.2, which is extremely good value for a side scoring 2+ goals in 7 of their last 8 matches. Wow. Rangers and Livy, possibility of that draw ending. But I do like what I'm seeing from QPR. 0.92 expected goals, 2 shots on, 2 shots off, 2 corners. But yet again, you're flirting with disaster going into these Championship League 1, League 2 with a full liability. You've seen how cautious I've been in keeping liability to £2, £3, £4 in these lower tiers. What I would recommend, at the very least, make sure you've got that 0-1 covered, because if it remains 0-1 for a while, this is the best odds you're going to get. Okay, and write it off. It's going to be about £3.40 or something like that. £4.40. Write it off and wait. But I've got a good feeling, I think, about QPR. I like that XG. It does look pretty good. Match odds, QPR 3.95, Hull 2.08. So the XG, the QPR odds in +1 market are going to be quite attractive. And the +1 market is exactly the same as laying Hull, by the way, because you've got the same results. So do remember that QPR +1 is exactly the same as laying Hull. Okay, so you could have if you're going to cover the draw, it'll have to be liability, don't forget, because you're putting that at risk. That relative to this being a championship, you don't need QPR to get the win, just get the draw. That is an excellent return. I might be tempted. I'm just going to give it a little bit longer. Just give them a bit more to show me that they are up for it today. I like what I'm seeing, though, I must admit. Odds on at home, delivering. But why did Hull score via a 0.09 XG? It must have been a scrappy old goal. Leicester have the opening goal against Stoke. Brighton and Brentford, goal disallowed for Brentford. Brentford are having an awful time away from home. That could have been a potential trading angle today. It's very contrasting form. 2+ goals. There we go. Another 2 goals from Bologna. Why didn't I lay that bleeping draw? I do all this research specifically to find this value. Bang. 2 goal heroes. So that is an extremely decent lay the draw second half. Why on earth was I a little reluctant there? Just going to keep an eye on ETH. So just excuse me for a sec. Ethereum has to break the 30-minute chart to go up. You can see it's consistently can't get through this blue line here. So I use cascade trading. Look for the 1 minute, break through these 2 lines. Look for the 5 minute to break through these 2 lines, and you can see it's struggling. Once the 5 minute breaks through, wait for the 30 minute to break through. And that you're going to go up, up and away to the skies. I'm not bothered with all of this cascading down. I follow Ethereum implicitly. It's one of my main focuses. Before I got hacked, I had 41 ETH. So you can see how much that was worth at £3,500 per ETH. I got done like a kipper by these Facebook ads, which is why I'm not relenting. I'm going to be going to the Irish authorities because Meta are breaking the law. Simple as that. But let's get back to the footy. Barcelona opening goal. Actually scoring. Goodness sake. Atletico Bilbao cannot be trusted, not even pre-Champions League. So I don't think there's going to be any trading value to be had there whatsoever. Not a match you want to be focusing on. I'm very disappointed with that Bologna. I hope one or two of you laid the draw because I do all this work and it was a great opportunity. You would have made something like 25, 30 quid there on your usual liability lay the draw. Got all of that yesterday's Standard Liège cock-up done. And the only Dutch Eerste Divisie match which ended goalless. Guess who picked it to lay the draw second half? Yours truly. So don't get me to buy your lottery tickets, please. Cagliari and Genoa. Well, my main angle there was that 1-2 for Genoa. I was looking at 1-1 at half time. I would have certainly looked to take that on second half. I don't think I'll be getting involved anymore there. I don't think I'll get involved with this one either. Or maybe we'll keep an eye on the XGs because if you add those two together, it's a total of about 1.77, which they're delivering on. They've got a goal each. Could be interesting. 0-0 at 0-0, 66th minute. Again, we've got the international break, so we don't know. And we've got a 0-0 for Reggiana last match. It's not top of the priority list, let's be honest. We've got goals coming in now in odds-on favourite matches, particularly Crawley and Accrington. So let me check that one out. Crawley and Accrington. We've already seen QPR looking good candidate, don't they? They look a good candidate. Crawley and Accrington. It's 2.1 the favourite. So there has been a move, a drift for Crawley. So they're not necessarily odds-on favourites. So lukewarm with that one. But I'm still going to be umming and ahhing about QPR. I do look at this now, 1.13. 2 shots on. Yeah, I'm getting involved. Bang. Now, I don't have to. This is very decent. Instead of going +1 today, I'm going to show you the other option, which is to lay Hull. Look at that, you're getting an evens return. So I'm getting involved with this. Don't forget, when you're going down to the Championship, League 1, League 2, do expect there to be some surprises, regardless of how well you've ticked the boxes. You know, XG's looking great, odds on favourite at home, great reaction to going a goal down, lighting up the XG 1.13, ticking every single box. Rather inevitably, they're going to lose 0-4. It's just the way it goes in these lower tiers. They are god awful, I tell you. Oh, man. We've got all of these Champions League sides delivering, don't we? Bayer Leverkusen, Dortmund, Bayern Munich coming from 2 goals down. So that curse, where the bleep is it? Look at Bournemouth. Don't forget, Bournemouth a tough nut to crack. West Ham's lead, care of a 0.03 expected goal. So that suggests to me maybe a long throw and a lucky header. That's just what I'm reading. Again, if you fancy Bournemouth, they've got the form in the book. Are they really going to lose 2 consecutive matches, having only lost 3 all season? Don't forget, those 2 came away from home. So there is a possibility to take on the Hammers today, but you are dicing with disaster with taking on new managers because they can produce an emphatic display. I think Brentford have taken the lead against Brighton, and Brentford have an awful away record. So that is another one for the watch list. I'm getting involved in QPR. I'm going to tell Telegrammers that one. QPR and Hull laying over 1.5 goals to cover the 0-1. And I'm going to be backing QPR just +1 because it's the English Championship. I want to cover the draw. But they have really come alive, QPR. 1.13 expected goals, 2 shots on, 5 off, 2 corners. I hope it's not them that's just equalised because I've got a suspended market. QPR, possible equaliser. Looks good, doesn't it? But I am ever so cautious about these lower tiers. Fulham are looking good at home. They're a very tough team to score 2 goals against. Liverpool are looking up for it today against Sean Dyche's Nottingham Forest. 1 shot on 7 off 4 corners. And as you know, these Champions League sides are delivering. Look at Barcelona today. None of them have cocked up just yet. In fact, they've won emphatically, all of them, starting with Marseille yesterday. So we might not be getting... I have to warn you about it, though, because time and time again, these sides cock it up. You saw that with that 0-2 Bayern. But Fulham, really good at home. Sunderland do have a 2-goal habit, 3 of the last 4 matches, but they've not shown a sausage at the moment, have they? Fulham are tough nut to crack at home. Watch out, they could possibly be the first goal scorers there. Liverpool look like they're doing a good job against Nottingham Forest. It's a 0.99 XG, starting to create good chances. Liverpool, the secondary stats are showing you some significant pressure from the Reds. 7 shots off and 6 corners. They are priced, well, with their 1-2 habit or both teams to score habit, you would have suspected a strong goals before half time. But a recent 0-0, well, that was against Real Madrid at half time. But tending to see goals before half time, Liverpool matches. And this is a half-hour mark. So this would enter speculative territory. Okay, the Liverpool match. It's all dependent on whether you can find value here. Do you want to go evens about them getting a goal between now and the 45th minute? Potential. Oh, there we go. There we go. Probably got the goal now. So that evens was looking rather tasty, wasn't it? If you've eaten that one up, that's probably the Liverpool opener. So Champions League sides delivering today. Doesn't look like we can take them on. No! This looks like Nottingham Forest have opened the scoring. Sean Dyche's boys. Wow, now we are in. A bit of a puzzler. Sean Dyche's boys have got the opening goal. Now, you know what Sean Dyche is like. It's a 10-man defence now. Can Liverpool break through? Liverpool do score. They do score when they concede, apart from Manchester City. And I'll just remind you, Arne Slot must be pulling his hair out looking at these recent results. But I think Liverpool will be scoring here. The neutral player would probably go for a 1-2 and a 2-1, just to cover the next team to score. We did that successfully, didn't we, in some of these internationals during the international break, particularly with the mighty Irish, Troy Parrott, St. Troy, doing a magnificent job to get that 2-3, which I covered along with 3-2. Fabulous, fabulous. I was watching that match with my mum. She's from County Cork. And she did a bit of the old river dance jig in the living room. Fantastic stuff from an 85-year-old with a dodgy hip. Most of Liverpool's woes are coming away from home, but they do consistently, apart from this last match, score. But did they score the next goal? Not so against Brentford. Yes, against Man United. Yes, against Chelsea. Yes, against Crystal Palace. So we have that consistent pattern. They do score the next goal, apart from just the one match where Brentford scored 2. So I think Liverpool are looking good today, and we don't have that curse, so we might have an opportunity. But as ever with these Sean Dyche sides, I don't know if we'll get a 0-2 from Nottingham Forest. That's very un-Sean Dyche-like. But we might just get that equaliser. And West Ham have a 0-2 lead. This is what I'm talking about, new manager syndrome. 3 goals now for Nuno Espirito Santo in 2 consecutive matches. 2+ goals in 3 consecutive matches. New manager syndrome all over the shop. That's why I didn't get involved in the cherries. But Liverpool, I think, is a better candidate for me. No! Oh my God. It's all going Lionel Blair for Arnie Slot. Oh my God. You know as well as I do why Liverpool are cocking it up. Say it along with me. Post Champions League, post international, pre Champions League. Let's have a look at that second goal for Forest because it's likely they'd be sticking 10 men in the 6-yard box and just getting on the end of a long throw. That's Sean Dyche football. Is it being allowed? Let's have a look. Andy Madley blows his whistle for handball and Igor Jesus can't celebrate. Oh, man. That looked like a handball in the build-up, and the referee, Andy Madley, is going to take a look at VAR. So let's hope this is 0-2 because that, for me, is my entry point. Got to be. This could be the first cock-up of the day for our Champions League sides. So let's hope you're all okay still over on YouTube. I think that Nottingham Forest goal has been disallowed, but it's a gentle warning to you, isn't it? The vulnerability that these Champions League sides face, particularly such an out of form Liverpool side. Bournemouth, we could see a little bit of value now, but again, it's a great testament to ensuring we know about these new manager syndromes, don't we? The goals are flowing. Goal back from Stuttgart, so really should have laid Dortmund 2-0 up. If I'm following my taking on these big guns. Two minds with this Liverpool match, really. 1-2-2-1 seems to be an obvious play, perhaps with a 3-2-2-3. That would cover a whole gamut of scorelines, and it would cover whether Forest score 2 consecutive goals as well with the 0-2. So it's a tricky one because if Liverpool are to lose, it's going to be in a weekend like this, chock full of international stars, a lot of them spread around the world, coming back. We've got possible fatigue issues, we've got possible niggles, and then Arnie Slot has to consider the upcoming Champions League match with his side currently in absolutely Danny Dyer form. I do think there is an angle here with Liverpool, but I can't put my finger on it. Let's have a look. So correct score 1-2 at 10.5, 2-1 5.5. Very strong favourite there. 3-2 17.5, 2-3 at 44s. Those would be my possible gambits here. But it doesn't cover the 3-1, of course, if Liverpool make it 3-1. So it's not necessarily a neutral play, is it? If you're being ultra neutral, you would be going over 2.5 goals. Don't forget, Liverpool do score. And in all bar one of the matches where they've conceded first, they have scored the next goal. Over 2.5 goals, pretty decent value considering 1 goal has already been scored. So value is in the eye of the beholder. That's quite good value. It's near its high at 0-0. So that is quite tempting, isn't it? Ideas: laying over 1.5 goals, covers 0-1. Covers, that's it. Covers 0-1. Because if you get a 1-1, that's over 1.5 goals. 0-2 is over 1.5 goals. But what you can do, and let's give this a go. This is experimental, by the way, so don't follow me as an official play. But this is an idea. Laying over 1.5 goals. Okay. Your liability there, £4.40. Back over 2.5 goals now for your £40. And the only way you will lose is if the match ends in the no man's land between over 1.5 goals and under 2.5 goals. So what scorelines would be killer scorelines for you? 1-1, 2-0. Okay, 0-2, 1-1. Those are the two scorelines we want to avoid. If the match ends 0-2, 1-1, you can say goodbye to this, and you can say goodbye to this. So it's not a very big profit, 16 quid, but it's just something I'm looking at trying to introduce. See whether we can get some mileage out of this. But I do think if we're going to do it as a trader, lay over 1.5 goals. Have a look at Liverpool +1. Is it decent enough? No, it's not. It's emphatically telling you the expectation that Liverpool are going to score and score the next goal. Match odds, very difficult to trust Liverpool today in the match odds market, isn't it? It's a new manager syndrome as well. That's why Bournemouth are having trouble. It's post-international, negative. Pre-Champions League, negative. New manager for the opponent, negative. Not really a good sign. Look at the recent form for Liverpool. Absolute pants. Positive, they do score the next goal when they concede. And they do score, apart from Man City. Okay? I'm going to wait till half-time. And we will see. And there's Bayern Munich have done the job. So they are turning up today. So with that in mind, do you like what you're seeing from Liverpool? Not one of these sides have cocked it up yet after 90 minutes. Interested as well in that 0-2 Bournemouth and West Ham. Let's take a look at the goal. Nuno Espirito Santo, though, got 3 goals in the locker in his last 2 matches. This is the dangers of playing new manager syndrome, regardless of the form of the team. So let's just check out these goals. One of them might be a penalty. One of them might be an own goal. And just as we get to half-time, I'm just going to go make myself a cup of tea because I'm just feeling it in the old throat. And I need something warm as well because it's an awful day here today. Well, Callum Wilson has 2 consecutive goals for, I think it's Callum Wilson. Alex Scott, Guernsey boy, made the headlines in the local paper, but didn't get in the England side, alas. He's a Guernsey lad. Great to see him. Last professional was Matt Le Tissier. And before that, Len Duckman, for you Spuds fans. So Alex Scott on the cusp of international glory for England, which will be wonderful to see for Guernsey football. But possible play second half, dependent on the stats. QPR, by the way, bang. We're up and running. Fancied it, didn't I? This is the kind of quality you want to see. Now, that is a good return, isn't it? Yes, we could have gone match odds, but when you've got near evens to cover the draw and you've already made 66 quid on Coventry, you don't need to push the boat out, particularly such poor leagues like this, such a poor record for us traders. So you can lock this in already before halftime if you wanted to. That is not promised to you at all. That is still alive as a loss. But a great stuff. Your first cash out opportunity, that would bring that up to 83 quid minus your lost liability for the insurance. So touching on that 3-figure return for a session and putting to bed all those Friday losses. This is why I don't like trading on Fridays and love sometimes Saturdays when we can focus on our elites like this. Any problems? Let's have a look. Well, you've got a Desmond 3-3. Cagliari and Genoa, very much unlike Cagliari, this, isn't it? That Desmond 3-3, I think, is gettable. So are you going to cash out before half-time here? That way you don't have to worry about the second half. You might get a red card, QPR. It's like deal or no deal, isn't it? You've got the loss here. You've got the bigger profit here. And you've got the current box or the banker's deal here. So are you going to take the deal or no deal and hope for a bigger return? But with the risk of losing a lot, just like Deal or No Deal. So I might get Noel Edmonds for my next live session. The reason I'm talking Deal or No Deal, my parents love it, and I keep walking in on them watching Deal or No Deal. So it's a good analogy for trading, isn't it? For your decision making, getting out. And as ever, to get out, it's up to you. I can't tell you when to get out or not. We've got a goal from the Wolf, and it's going to stir the pot because it's before the hour mark. Lovely jubbly. Let's have a look at this one. There we go. So it's all relative. Risk reward, all relative. That's 26 quid, that's 35. Okay. But I kept liability low. Now we are very much alive with half an hour to go at home against the Champions League side. Yes, please. Good start. All relative though. It's a one-to-one return, which is excellent for trading. But of course, the liability is far too low. But once you get, I think 2027 or 2026, we'll be looking, starting, I think, with a fresh bank as an experiment and not taking out your profits, compounding it and having a look at percentage. So for me, with my experience, something like a £200 back, I can divide that by 5 because I'm quite confident I'm not going to make 5 consecutive losses on the trot. As that £200 bank becomes 400, those stakes now become 80. As it becomes 800, it becomes 160. So you can see, as you compound forward, you make bigger returns, bigger stakes, bigger returns. The absolute ideal for me would be something like a £200 stake per match. That's a livable wage for me. If I'm making 67 quid with £40 stakes, multiply that by 5, that's about 350 quid. And you only have to do one trade a day that way then. And I can live well on that, that's for sure. I've got the skill to do it, just need the discipline. Partick Thistle 2-0 up against St Johnstone. That could be of interest to us as a throwaway play. All dependent. You know, they're one of my, like Bodo Glimt, like Midtjylland, one of the sides I've latched onto this season because they do tend to deliver. They look like an SPL side in the Championship. But there we go. That is the issue, a lack of liquidity. So please, can you just let me go for a second? I'm off to the kitchen, get myself a cup of char, and I will leave you with the scorelines as they come in. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Yeah. Michael says QPR 1-1. Yeah, eat up your greens, says Michael. Quite true. Gobble up the greens. That's Michael's way out. He doesn't want to wait for the possibility of Hull giving QPR a penalty or something, or the other way around, QPR giving Hull a penalty. I'll be back in a second. Just make myself a nice cup of tea. Get a nice Kit Kat from the fridge. Don't tell my dad. Right, I'm back. Just going to get the heating on because it's getting a bit nippy. Okay. Don't have this problem in Thailand, of course. It's the fan being too loud in Thailand. All right, just get a blast of heat. So half time. Let's have a look through. I'll just have a quick look at this as well. Still having trouble getting through that yellow line. So there we go. Had a goal disallowed. Bournemouth and West Ham. Difficult to take on Nuno Espirito sides, isn't it? With a couple of 3-goal hauls. Very, very difficult. Oh, we're up and running. We are up and running. Leverkusen. I'll keep an eye on St Johnstone. Could get a bit of value now that the market's got a bit tighter. Leverkusen. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Strap yourselves in for a Champions League cock-up. It should be 2 to 3, it says. So why on earth are they only 1.08? And that doesn't make sense. Because that's what we saw at 1-3. So I think this goal has been disallowed. Yes, indeed. What a pity. 2-3, 64 minutes. Bang. We're well in there for a very short priced get of Bayer Leverkusen. Desmond 3-3 Calgary. Let's just have a look at that. Make sure the odds are ultra low before you get involved. It looks like one of those, I call them Chuckle Brother matches. It's to me, to you, to me, to you. 109 for me will do me fine. And I'm going to limit my liability here. I'm going to half it. So instead of my 23 quid, it'll be 11. And instead of 32, it'll be 16. So there we go. Liabilities. Well, is it worth it? Because it's not much of a difference, is it? So let's start again. I'm confusing myself now. Laying at 109 for 20 quid, £1.80 liability. All right. Lay at 1.06. And you could do Michael's idea if you wanted by drip laying yourself. This is my version of drip laying, where I don't have to monitor it. So 32, 16. Have we got the goal? Didn't get on. Didn't get on. So we'll have to wait and see whether it's a surprise or otherwise. Very, very disappointed I didn't lay the draw. Extremely. Genoa red card. Good stuff. Definitely now 106, 109. Definitely. So there we go. That's just a 50 quid profit if Cagliari can take advantage of the extra man. We will see. But a very, very disappointed Bologna. Called it absolutely spot on. Didn't take action. If you don't take action, you don't profit. Not going to be playing Heidenheim and Mönchengladbach. Don't trust these two at all. Bayern Munich, job done already. Borussia Dortmund might be vulnerable. We know how good Stuttgart have been. Goals-wise, they're having one of their better seasons. It is a Champions League, Dortmund. They might be vulnerable. So we'll keep an eye on that one, with only a goal head start. Augsburg and Hamburg, don't fancy that at all, really. Two not very good sides, newly promoted away side as well. It could take a lot for me to take that 0-0 on. Maybe if there's a red card involved. Wolfsburg just had a goal disallowed, which would have really lit us up like a Christmas tree. Would have been fantastic. 2-3 with 20 minutes to go. You'd have been banging there for a very big profit for a small liability. I'll get rid of Union Saint-Gilloise. I don't really want to be focusing too much on the Belgian Jupiler League. Not sure I'm going to be playing the Cherries today. They are a tough nut to crack. but they are showing some intent. And 0-2, as you know, is a very good entry point. But you've got Nuno Espirito Santo team scoring 3 goals in each of the last 2 matches. Sometimes you just say, you know, I expect something to happen, but I'm not seeing the value. I can't see the value here. And it's too risky taking on a newly managed team. Quite clearly, you can see they are doing a number on Bournemouth today. Wolverhampton Wanderers, new manager Rob Edwards, the Newcastle Falcons rugby coach, probably. Crystal Palace, very tough to score against. 0-0-1 conceded recently, and they've got 2 goals in the locker. They're not involved in Europe, but they do have a lot of international players. That could be the fatigue element. New manager syndrome again for Wolves means you can't discount them today. The new manager bounce could make a huge difference. And there it is. Did you get matched? Let's have a look. This is exciting. Don't tell me it's been disallowed. Oh, come on. I told you, don't get me to buy your lottery tickets this weekend. Oh, man. That would have been quite wonderful. We still have a little bit of time left for Cagliari, or do we? Oh, can you imagine if that come in at 4-3? Ka-ching. Oh. Oh, you're joking. Last kick of the match, disallowed goal. Oh, that's a... Oh, that smarts, doesn't it? Bournemouth West Ham, I'm not going to take that on, but let's have a look at the markets. If you like the Cherries, if you're a Bournemouth fan and you've got a differing opinion to me, don't forget they only lose against really, really solid European outfits. The only value I would see here would be to actually just back Bournemouth at 12s. That is all I could see here, really. Keep your liability ultra low. Something like that. But again, that's a little bit too high for a new manager. A token, £3 will just have you an interest in this match. Or you could just simply delay and look for the Cherries to do something. Don't forget the 2 losses did come away recently. They are a little bit better at home. Wolfsburg, we all know, we just had a goal disallowed. We were on a good footing, 2-3 with 20 minutes to go. Hopefully we can see some fun there. I'm going to get rid of the Bayern Munich match. The value was in that 0-2 Freiburg, and I really do hope you took that on yourself, or had the initiative, at least, to have done that yourself. Please don't wait for me to take action. You'll never learn that way. Augsburg and Hamburg, very, very good expected goals, and both teams having a degree of momentum throughout the match. The home side, Augsburg, couple of waves in the first half. Second half, big wave from Hamburg. It's one of those matches, if you're on 4 consecutive defeats in all competitions, you'd like to be getting a win under your belt. And with the 2.5, the favourite, both teams are giving a shout by the market today. XGs are very good, 1.17 and 0.93. Add them together, over 2 total goals possible. I'd be very reluctant to lay the draw myself, given the sides are not the greatest. And another cock-up, we didn't lay Dortmund 2-0 up. I told you we should be focusing on all of these Champions League sides, particularly when they're leading by 2 goals, because their odds are short. Oh, man. So it just vindicates it, doesn't it? It shows you. It's not a coincidence, these cock-ups at this particular weekend. So let's work our way down. I will not be playing Heidenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach at all. Highly unlikely to be playing Bournemouth and West Ham myself. But if you like what you see, 12s for a home side at half-time. 1.67 for goodness sake. Woefully off the mark against newly promoted, newly managed West Ham. So if you see 12s for a 1.67 shot. It's 35 attacks to 10. So I think West Ham have just been very, very efficient. I suspect their goals have come via set pieces and have just converted. It's a very poor expected goals ratio of 0.38, which makes that the story, I think. Not really from open play, but maybe a throw-in, corner, set piece. Load the box, get the big lad, bang it in the back of the net. So if you see a bit of value for Bournemouth at 12s, you might get something out of this. Certainly they're delivering attack-wise. Because of the international break, we don't really have a gauge for recent performances, do we? They did score 3 goals against Fulham second half. You'll note 0-0 at half time. The last home match, they scored 2 goals against Nottingham Forest, but that was in the first half. West Ham, you've only got to look at the 2 matches under Nuno Espirito Santo. You can't look at anything else. And rock solid. But they do score and concede. Particularly against Burnley, conceded 2 goals. Conceded 1 second half. So that 12 might look quite attractive, mightn't it? Something to look at again. Wolves and Palace, I'm not going to play, but I would be favouring Palace. New manager syndrome again would put you off playing. If you're avoiding new manager syndrome matches, you would be avoiding problems, wouldn't you? Odds on favourite losing. Odds on favourite losing. I think I'm going to make a decision with Liverpool and take on, because they do score. I'm going to be, I know it's new manager syndrome and it could end in a loss, okay, so you've got to be very careful. That's why we've laid over 1.5 goals at 1.11 already. Not really moved. That's a positive sign that the market's expecting goals. Anything under 1.5 for Liverpool plus 1 is a similar sign as well. So you'll have to go necessarily match odds here. But you're playing with fire with a new managed team. Just looking at the match odds. There we go. So I'm going to have a go at this. But I think the preferable out for me would be 1-1. Just don't trust this Liverpool side post-international pre-Champions League at all. And against a new managed Sean Dyche side. So laying Nottingham Forest half stake as liability, backing Liverpool. You're getting nearly 3s about Liverpool, which is pretty decent. So it's up to 43 quid profit on Liverpool. Bit of a loss on the draw. Can they do what they've done in all bar one of their losses, and that's to score the next goal? I'll pass this on to Telegrammers with the usual caveats. Liverpool against Nottingham Forest, I've decided to lay over 1.5 goals. I've gone to the match odds, back Liverpool half stake, lay Nottingham Forest half stake as liability. Now, if you want to be disciplined, you will not be playing post-international pre-Champions League against a newly managed Nottingham Forest. But at 1.18 expected goals for Liverpool. They've had 3 sets of momentum throughout the first half. Got done during the second bit of momentum that they had. They do tend to score in all bar, I think, 1 or 2 matches where they have conceded first, they have scored the next goal. That's what I'm pinning my hopes on. But if ever they're going to cock it up, it's going to be post-international pre-Champions League. So do please be careful. Do please be careful too. New manager syndrome for Nottingham Forest. If ever there's going to be an upset, it's going to be like that. Look at Bournemouth, West Ham. New manager for West Ham. And then 0-2 up. Okay. So you have been warned. New manager for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it's 0-0 at half time. Lots and lots of new names in the Premier League. So we have some goals coming in. I must get my odds on favourites back. No, my brother's here. Come an hour early. So let me just have a look at this for you. We're going to go to my games. Work our way down. So odds on favourites at half time. Let's have a look. Any surprises? Bournemouth, West Ham. I don't think I will be doing that. But 12s again about Bournemouth, if the market's accurate, extremely good value. And you've seen already they've scored plenty of goals against Fulham second half, 3 of those goals. So if you see a little bit of value in 12s for Bournemouth, I might be talking myself into this, to be honest. But the other two matches, new manager syndrome for both of them. Very difficult to read, and particularly Liverpool as well. Looking at the English Championship, the odds-on favourites got a 0-0 at half-time. Ipswich against Wrexham. Normally with Wrexham, you see a both teams to score angle. So I'll certainly put this on the list to watch. Let me just get rid of some of these English matches. They're just clogging up. We've got a suspended match and a goal. There we go. That about sums up why I shouldn't have got involved. I talked myself into it. Now I'm going to top up, and I just hope I'm not going to compound losses. What I normally do in a case like this, and this is exactly what I was warning you about, we shouldn't be playing new manager syndrome matches. But this is what I tend to do. Back Liverpool now, 6.2. Late Nottingham Forest, £5 stake as liability. And I'll have to take the hit, I'm afraid. But they do tend to score. This could be, if this loss sequence continues, this could be Arnie Slot for the chop. He looks to be in a spot of bother. Certainly very good value if you didn't play at the 0-1. But you know why it's a problem, new manager syndrome. So Liverpool will have to come out of the blocks now, score the next goal. They do score in every single goal. What we need is for them to score early enough to get that averaging working for me. So at 1-2, you've got the chance of cashing out. QPR and Hull. Listen to Michael Pigeon. Lock it in. And then you won't have anything to worry about. So eat up your greens, says Michael. Eat up your greens. Did you listen to Michael? That's exactly what I'm talking about, isn't it? Anything can happen. If you lock it in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sod it. Lock it in. You're never guaranteed that profit, ever. As a trader, do what Michael does. Michael's obviously looking to secure that profit and move on to the next match. So well done, Michael. Great decision on your part to lock it in. That is exemplary. So let's have a look. Have a look at the whole goal. Was it a slip up, own goal, cock up, penalty? No, Destin. So that just goes to prove, doesn't it, the value of taking a green screen. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go yet?
Not yet.
Or not? Mark's come to fetch you.
Yeah, we said 5 o'clock. Eh?
Yeah. But you've got to get the room tidy first. The room isn't tidy yet. You're still working?
Yeah.
Well, can't you pack it up and take it with you?
The old man's getting stressed, I'm afraid. 5 p.m. I said, pick me up. 5 p.m., 5 p.m., 5 p.m. It's 4:11. Oh, poor sod, he's getting a bit worked up. But let's get back. My brother's come early because he wants a coffee. So, let's get back to this. Catch up. Oh, this is so near, isn't it? That 2-3, had that stuck, we would be sorted, wouldn't we? Absolutely sorted. 94 momentum. It's getting a bit late now in the day, I'm afraid. Hope you can still hear me okay. Just let me know if you can. So we'll work our way through this. Got another suspended market. Hopefully that's Liverpool waking up. We will see. I'll get rid of that one. Augsburg and Hamburg don't need to follow that. And we've got a goal back for QPR. I don't know if I cashed out. So if I didn't cash out, I am cashing out. And you should too. You should listen to Michael Pigeon. He knows his onions. Indeed, I didn't cash out. I've learnt my lesson. I'm getting the bleep out of Dodge. So let me just wait for this to tidy itself up. Bang, I'm out. Listen to Michael. Eat your greens. Okay, that is a lesson for us all. Could have arguably got involved again, to be perfectly honest. So having such good form and such good in-play stats for QPR, aren't they? So eat your greens. A great lesson for you there. Dortmund gutted. The angle was 2-0. If ever there's a time to take these Champions League sides on, it is today, isn't it? It is today. Nothing much to report there. Bournemouth starting to wake up. 54th minute, 0.54 XG, so not the greatest chance creations in the planet. Can you hear me okay? I'm not still, thank you very much, Michael. I'm not still talking with the mute button on. So sorry about that. My poor dad is absolutely worked up about nothing at all, but hopefully we're all calm and relaxed now. So I'm moving to my brother's today. And I just say 5 p.m. specifically. Got it all on my messenger. 5 p.m. Liverpool 1.19 XG, 3 shots on, 8 of 7 corners. Arnie Slot P45 is in the post. This is all about the new managers, isn't it? We really should retain our discipline and not necessarily get involved in new manager syndrome matches. Partick Thistle, St Johnstone. Well, it's not a match. St Johnstone are priced to win. 2.8 the favourite, 2.25 the favourite. So they were priced not to have the best of times today. I'm not necessarily going to lay Partick Thistle just yet. Just wait for a little bit of something from St Johnstone. Okay. But this is the problem. Post-international break, you're going to get these kind of upsets because the form, the momentum lines are just gone. We can get rid of Barcelona. And let's have a quick walk through our odds-ons. Are we missing anything from the odds-on favourites? Let's have a look. 0-0 still, Wolves and Palace, but new manager syndrome. So please respect that. Palace as well have been keeping clean sheets. 0-0-1 recently. So this is a typical managerial bounce for Wolves. Vast improvement, isn't it? Defensively. Our mark at 0-0. Crystal Palace been keeping clean sheets as well. So a battle of the defences there today. In the English Championship, Ipswich and Wrexham, I still didn't get to that match, or did I? Because Wrexham have a real reputation. They have a real reputation for those 1-1s. So let's just clean up the English National League, which we can't trade because of the liquidity issues. Work our way down to the English Championship. And let's have a look. Ipswich and Wrexham. So, it looks like it's one-way traffic, doesn't it? Ipswich and Wrexham. 5 shots on 3 off 3 corners, but how many of those have come first half versus second half? It's important to know your time. So it's 2 shots on target, 1 shot off, and that's it. Second half. So I'm a bit reluctant to be laying the draw at 2.3. Again, the international break potentially just scuppering any improvements. And look at Wrexham's last 2 championship matches prior to the international break. 0-0 and a 1-0 win. Both 0-0s at half time. So yes, defences seem to be bolstered a little bit for them, don't they? So a little bit reluctant to be taking anything on there in that championship match. I don't like laying the draws unless it's both sides really working for us, but Wrexham have not shown up at all. They look like a newly promoted side today, don't they? QPR's Desmond Tutu might interest you at some point. 56 attacks to 11 for Bournemouth. Perhaps just a little shift to the last 5 minutes of stats will give you an impression of who's dominating. And you can see QPR really dominating in the last 5 minutes. That's why they got that quick equaliser. And you eat your greens, as Michael says, and you'll be as safe as houses. Bournemouth and West Ham, three corners in the last 5 minutes. That's good pressure. And again, the only value I would see there would be a wait and perhaps back the Cherries maybe on the 65th minute mark. Give them enough time to do something. Gone from 12s up to 20s. My goodness, and that's with half an hour to go. Don't forget they scored 3 goals against Fulham, another London side. So, with that in mind, we're getting towards a little bit of value now, aren't we? Nuno's does have 3 goals in the hammers. So if you were to lose, laying at 1.23 is not going to harm you too much. I'm going to have a token 2 or 3 quid, just in case Bournemouth get a quick goal. So we'll go at 22s. There we go, 61 quid there. That's just to try to get the market to work for us without it costing me too much money. New manager syndrome, etc. So that's in. A little back at Bournemouth. You could start drip laying West Ham if you wanted to as well. It's a great idea of Michael's this. You don't have to pile in. You can do it in increments. Even start small. Desmond has ended Dortmund and Stuttgart. Goals are flowing. And, well, rather inevitably, I suppose, given Crystal Palace have been scoring 2+ goals recently and keeping clean sheets, they have that opening goal. But personally for me, because of the new manager element, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0-0 would ideally, or not ideally, but would, I think, logically be in play, wouldn't it? What a pity that Wolfsburg goal didn't stand at 2-3. I'm very disappointed with that. Desmond has come in. Dortmund, up to you if you wanted to play that or not. But the angle in was to lay Dortmund 2-0 up, wasn't it? Lay Dortmund 2-0 up. Bournemouth, this is last 5 minutes, by the way. So you can see they are making a concerted attempt at it, and the momentum is the highest it's been since the match has begun. Positives, half an hour to go is ample time for a trader. If they can get a goal, let's say 70th minute, to make it 1-2, that will start things motoring a little bit. Oh my goodness, it's cock-up time for Dortmund. You know as well as I do, the only time these scorelines occur is at this particular stage. Unbelievable. So we're waiting on Bournemouth to do something without it costing us too much. I think Wolverhampton Wanderers are done under Rob Edwards, trying desperately to alleviate that defensive concern, but just let's just get Wolverhampton Wanderers up. See if it does just a single team. So I've never done it as a single team. I've always done it as a match. This is just to remind you of how poor Wolves will be. So let's have a look at that. As the goals continue. Don't forget, this is the last 5 minute stats, so it just gives you a quick look at who's doing something in the last 5. The last 10 will give you a slight momentum. And again, it's the same two teams, QPR and Bournemouth. The last 15 will just expand it a little bit, and you can see Ipswich are starting to warm up the last 15. But as that continued, 3 shots off target last 10 minutes, only the 1 shot off target last 5. So it's just gone a little bit lukewarm, Ipswich. But don't forget, Wrexham, a recent 0-0 and a 1-0 win. So maybe their manager or Ryan Reynolds has been working on the defence for them, getting Deadpool in goal or something. We can get rid of a few of these which we don't need the updates on. Dundee United and Falkirk, for example. Rangers and Livy. Let's just bring that one up because it was a 1.58, the favourite match. So let me get that up. The Scottish Premier League. Rangers and Livy 1-1. We're missing in play stats, I believe. No, these are the last 5 minute stats, aren't they? So let me go back to all stats. And that will give you an idea. You've got the momentum here for QPR as well. So that Desmond might be doable. But if, like Michael, you've cashed out, you don't really need to worry about it, do you? Nothing doing from any of these. Huddersfield 0-3 lead. That would have been interesting, wouldn't it, if you took the 0-3 lead on? And I would recommend you do that in the future. A very, very early 0-3 lead. Very well worth your while. Arnie Slot's Liverpool. There we go. There's that QPR goal. You saw that, the last 5 minutes of pressure. The only side along with Bournemouth lighting up the last 5 minutes. Thoroughly deserved from QPR. If you haven't cashed out, you cash out now. Please, please, please don't cock this one up. Don't do a Liverpool. And they are so quiet at the moment, Liverpool FC, aren't they? This is all about Sean Dyche knocking 7 bells out the Liverpool strikers. Making all the right noises, Liverpool, but very, very ineffectual with their shots on target. It's all very good secondary. So this is a pure Sean Dyche defensive masterclass, isn't it? Shouldn't have got involved. I'm disappointed to not be disciplined enough to at least not have a lower liability entry point for this Liverpool Forest match. We're starting to see now, aren't we? We're starting to see the creaks in these Champions League sides. They were all winning and winning well. But now we've got Dortmund slipping up. We had Bayern Munich conceding 2. We've got Liverpool conceding the first 2 goals. It's all starting to fall apart. Such a tricky, tricky time for managers. And quite clearly, you can see Arnie Slot. Well, he doesn't have the pedigree for Champions League football, does he? Really? What was he with Feyenoord prior? Or he's been found out tactically. But we will see. Or he has to own the signings. They're his signings. They're just not delivering. But we saw a glimpse of Liverpool pre the international break, and they were electric. Absolutely electric. And then it's just suddenly, it's gone all Lionel Blair. Yes, poor old Wolves. I did tell you, at their very, very best. But because of the new manager element, clean sheets, 2-goal habit somewhere, I thought. Clean sheets, vital. You can't play not to lose. as a manager. It's just such a negative tactic. Playing not to lose, Wolves. It's Crystal Palace are a solid unit, so you would have expected the Palace win today, to be perfectly honest. On form, Wolves are relegated. I'm a Wolves fan, so I do have the Samaritans on speed dial as a Wolves fan, and you can see why it's not pretty viewing. Why did Nuno leave? Oh man, waiting for some noise from Liverpool, but we're not getting one. Got a goal back from Bournemouth. If you started that 19.5, there we go. Look how well timed that goal is now as well. It's the 68th minute mark. There's still 20 minutes to go. And again, it's all relative to your liability. So again, if we can get to the stage where you can start moving that decimal point to the right, you could actually cash out here for 45 quid. And all this will require is for the bank to be something like £2,000 instead of 200. It's very doable, I think, if you can keep your profits and compound. That's when these small plays you can get out immediately and make an absolutely reasonable return. You could even double this, and that would be a tenner. 10% of your £100 target. So we're on the right lines here. I like this setup. Could have laid West Ham as well, because you've got that move from 1.24 up to 1.83. You could have laid West Ham and back Bournemouth. So you got that nice move upwards. We're in a good position now because they've stopped West Ham so far from scoring the 3 goals they've scored under Nuno in the last 2 matches. Cherries could remember they scored 3 against Fulham. And you saw last 5 minutes, look at that, 1 shot on, 1 shot off, 0.98 expected goals. Nice work from the Cherries. Perfectly timed as well to give us an opportunity to get that 2-2, which we would like to be seeing before the 80th minute, having only really backed Bournemouth. We want to see that 2-2 before the 80th minute, and then we can get that market flowing. So really good stuff from them. Let's see if we get that second goal. They are only being beaten by European teams. Why were they 1.67 today? Very, very dismissive of a newly managed West Ham, isn't it? Very dismissive, particularly a 3-goal habit West Ham side. We can get rid of Wolves and Crystal Palace now. Rob Edwards, managerial bounce. Yes, lasted half an hour at 0-0. That's a positive, but bang. It's even picked up the today's match, which I'm delighted with. I only put Wolverhampton Wanderers in. Therein lies your problem. Therein lies your problem. Giving enough sides enough chance for 2 goals a game. Anything heading towards 1.5, you'd round up to 2. Add that to Crystal Palace. Don't forget, this is consistent averaging 2 goals a game. Creating enough chances for 2 goals, keeping a lid defensively. 0-2 or 2-0. Maybe we could start using a correct score using XG. That could be something for me to try and work on. But you can quite clearly see. And we got the goal back for St. J. What a pity I didn't lay Partick Thistle. One of your reliables, like Bodo Glimt, like Mietland, like now by Leverkusen goals before half-time, etc., etc. Got another Desmond 3-3 Crew Alexandra and Chesterfield. Let's just have a quick look at our odds-ons. I think I can dispense with Royal Unison Gilwa. I don't think I'll be getting involved in that particular match. Get rid of that odds-on. So we've got the goal back for Bournemouth. We've still got nothing from Liverpool with 20 minutes to go. But let's have a look at the goal times for Liverpool. 4 goals scored at home in the last 15 minutes of matches. That suggests the impact of substitutes. You can see that, can't you? The impact of subs. Brighton have a goal back against Brentford. I suppose on paper, with this side scoring 2+ goals regularly, and this side failing to win away from home, conceding 2+ goals away from home, should have been a play really for me, shouldn't it? I wasn't monitoring that match enough. I didn't even have, yes, I did have it up here, but it didn't really suggest to me a Brighton equaliser, to be perfectly honest with you. 0.5 xg, not really dominating the momentum, so that's a pity. Never mind. Rangers, do you trust them today? Trusting SPL sides is a tricky one, particularly the Old Firm. But there was a 1.58 over 2.5 goals today. It's another one for your maybe 109, 106 later on. Let's get rid of a few of these. I like Rakow, previous Polish champions. PSV Eindhoven 0-1 lead. NEC, if it's NEC Nijmegen, I would have been a bit more interested. But don't forget, this is pre-Champions League for PSV. So any 0-1 lead late on for an away side in the Champions League, particularly if you can get shorter odds than this. It's a short-priced throwaway lay. Well worth doing. Let's just clean up a bit of this, and off we go. Lens and Strasbourg is a top 4 clash. Lens have actually got a good chance, but they have to match Marseille's win yesterday to stay on the tabs of Paris Saint-Germain, playing Le Havre later on. Again, Paris Saint-Germain potentially layable if leading, because Le Havre have been keeping clean sheets of late. So this is, for me, a derby-style match, Lens and Strasbourg, not necessarily on the top of my watch list. Wolverhampton Wanderers, well, we can get rid of that already. It's awful to watch. Keep Nuno, keep the Portuguese players, and they would be. Don't forget, the late Diego Jota was a Wolves player. Really good signing for them. I'm not going to be too fussed about English League 2, but let's have a look at how the odds-on favourites are performing. Crawley and Accrington Stanley. Oldham are leading Newport, so there's no real trading angle there. We don't need to fixate on these lower tiers just yet. We need Liverpool to wake up. Wakey, wakey. It's an awful performance today from Liverpool. It's got P45 written all over it, doesn't it? After a 3-0 defeat to Manchester City without scoring. Now they're bringing on, I don't know what his obsession with Federico Chiesa is. He's an awful signing. Andy Robertson, this is the problem. Kirkes was involved in World Cup, and Andy Robertson was involved in a highly emotional World Cup match as well. Had to be rested. So this is half the problem for Arne Slot. It's an awful substitution. Awful signing, Isak as well. Arne has got it all wrong so far, hasn't he? Having said that, probably going to win 3-1. I hope so anyway. We need that goal to start the momentum moving. But I'll have to take the hit, I'm afraid. It's ill discipline on my part. Ill discipline. Yes, I did check. Liverpool do tend to score after conceding first, but they do tend to score at the very least. So we do need a goal from them. Pretty sharpish. We're running out of time, at least for the market to react positively. Having a look at the last 5 minutes, who's dominating? We're seeing anything more from Bournemouth. 1.79 xg. It's showing the kind of performance you could see from that they showed against Fulham. 3 second-half goals. It's that kind of a performance. It's utter dominant second half from Bournemouth. 1.79 xg is knocking on the door of 2 goals. Good stuff. Fulham and Sunderland. Fulham, very hard team to score 2 goals against. But don't forget, this is recent. Last 5 minutes, 2 shots off target, 0.98. Overall stats for Fulham, it's all the shots off target. They are a difficult side to score 2 goals against, but Sunderland have scored 2 goals in 3 of the last 4 matches. Scuppered a little by the lack of momentum from the international break. So what a pity there. I don't know how to play this one myself. You don't have to play every single match, of course. I think Fulham would have targeted this for 3 points. They are in poor form, but they're in good form at home. Real Jekyll and Hyde team. Awful performance from Liverpool today. Momentum, 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 but no goals. Really good new manager, Sean Dyche, 10-man defence, doing a fine job. Ipswich are still knocking on the door against Wrexham, but don't forget, as I've just shown you, 0-0 against Portsmouth away from home for Wrexham. 1-0 win against Charlton, 0-0 at half-time. That is why it's 0-0 currently. Wrexham must have been working on that defence, because it just looks as if they have, doesn't it? Tough nut to crack. I can get rid of this one. Brighton, I would suspect 2 goals might be in the locker for Brighton. It's a pity. On paper, you're taking Brentford on all day long. Just didn't see anything to suggest a goal was arriving. Partick Thistle might be layable later on at about 1.15 or lower. Now St Johnstone have a goal in the locker, but 2.25 the favourites, not suggesting it's an easy task for St J today, but 2-0 was your value angle in there. Typical Atletico Bilbao, woeful pre-European performance. It's really knocked their season off kilter, hasn't it? Getting involved in the Champions League. Barcelona back to their very best. So, generally speaking, these Champions League sides have not cocked it up as I would have expected them to have cocked up, apart from the elephant in the room, Liverpool FC. We can get rid of Wolves. We don't need that anymore. Not going to be playing Derby. Keep an eye on Ipswich, potential late play there. Already, Pompey have taken advantage of the red card. There's the Rangers goal. Part of the 1.58, so that could be something for you in the future to give you a little bit more confidence taking on any late 1-1s. If at odds checker it's 1.6 or lower for over 2.5 goals, and I am recording them when I remember to, but I don't have my 7-hour time difference that I have in Thailand, where I can get all this work done. I'm all cramming it into the morning, and I just there we go. We're done now. We are done, but we're not done yet for the Cherries. So this could compensate for that Liverpool loss. It would be very, very welcome indeed. I'm going to take the Liverpool hit. I've learnt my lesson. New manager syndrome. Now, what we could see is another bit of value in the Liverpool match. I don't know why I'm pinning my hopes on them. Why on earth he's got Federico Chiesa on there? He's hardly a 30-goal a season man, is he? For goodness sake. A ridiculous substitution to make when you're seeking 2 goals. Arnie Slot's head needs examining. You can take this 15 quid now if you've got that hit on Liverpool. That reduces the loss for me from 50 down to 35. So it's very tempting indeed. I think I might take this. As Michael says, hoover up your greens, particularly if you're suffering a loss in your session. That's taken the sting out of that Liverpool. So we've got 16 quid here. I would rather stay in because I think Bournemouth got those 3 goals against Fulham, could do so against West Ham. Now they're showing why they're 1.67 favourites, aren't they? So we had a really good entry point at 22s. If you stay in, it doesn't cost you much at all. That's taken a little bit of the sting out of that loss there. I'm just for a bit of fun. 10 minutes to go. I think they'll be asking for Slot's head, to be honest with you. For the sake of 74p, you can get yourself a bit more on the draw. But I've written off that 50 quid now, so disappointing. For the sake of £1.40. Again, you're still using averaging. If you can get it to 1.3, That's going to reduce marginally. If we can get it to 2-3, that's going to help markedly. All for the sake, I'm going to up it to £2. And there we have it. So that looks okay. Big profit on the draw and Liverpool. And if we can get a goal from Liverpool, but an awful choice of forwards. Really don't understand it. So up to you with Bournemouth again. Are you going to stay in or not? Thank you, Michael. See you next week. And thanks for your input today. Much appreciated. So Bournemouth, West Ham is finally poised. Highly likely we're going to see the Bournemouth winner, but I've had to get out to cover my loss on Liverpool. Possibilities here now with Fulham hitting 1.02 XG. Do they have a late goal in them? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the goal times table. Yes, they do. There. Yes, it was signalling, wasn't it? And that draw should have had a go at that. I was certainly going to have a quick look at their scoring pattern. They are a hard team to score 2 goals against now, so this should be 3 points now for Fulham. And 60th minute onwards, start seeing the goals arrive. So one I missed out on there. But Bournemouth, you can see as well, 3.04 now XG. This is the performance of a 1.67 favourite. So if you did stay in that one, well done. Fulham, the goal should be confirmed. It's arrived. I was going to play that a little bit later because it's really knocking on that door, weren't they? Liverpool, well, we just need a goal. A goal to give us some hope. But this is typical post-international pre-Champions League. And it's the writing was on the wall for Liverpool all day long, wasn't it? Ipswich and Wrexham, great defensive display from Wrexham despite not having any chances at all of any merit. Look at the times between each shot on target. It's about 10 minutes between them. So in that regard, good stuff. I'll get rid of that now. Fulham and Sunderland can get rid of that one. Possibility of Brighton. They do have 2 goals in the locker. Keep an eye on St Johnstone as well in case they start some late momentum. 2 goals in the locker, as I just said. I'm disappointed with that because that was a play. On paper, it was a very strong play. 2 goals a game, Brighton, against conceding 2+ goals. Bournemouth, Brentford. Get rid of the Rangers match. Potential, but I'm not seeing anything. We're missing, I think, some key stats there, so not too keen on that one. So let's just work our way through some of these as we come to an end. I'll have to finish it off sharply because I don't want the old man having a coronary, the poor lad. He gets very, very worked up about very, very little. He said, just got to tread carefully, I think. So probably going to be wrapping things up now. Not much to report elsewhere. The only major 0-0 is that Ipswich. Yeah, that's the Brighton confirmation of that. So the only real odds-on surprise is that Ipswich Wrexham, isn't it? I can't find it at the moment. So we'll just wait just for the end or the full times in the Premier League at least, and then I'll have to shoot off. So I don't think I'll be able to help you out with some of these matches, but I hope to be about. Probably watch the Newcastle match at my brother's if he can get the feed up. But it's not the best coupon this evening, is it? The 3 o'clocks are the better. This is a pointless game to trade. Champions League sides, no, thank you. Paris Saint-Germain probably, but Le Havre have been keeping things tight. So we're waiting for the potential for Bournemouth to put the cherry on top, literally, for the Cherries. Get rid of the Brighton one. Again, missed opportunity there for me. Missed opportunity, Fulham. Goal came a little bit too late. I was going to lay that late. And we're flogging a dead horse with Liverpool. I think the home support are going to be a little restless. If you're looking at Liverpool's recent form, it is 2 consecutive 3-0 defeats. It's absolutely awful. Well done for QPR. Great stuff. We'll just start weeding these out as we come to an end. So we'll get rid of all of that. So I think I'll better wrap it up. I don't want the old man to get a coronary. Do keep an eye out for the possibility of a Bournemouth winner, but we've already done a good job here with Bournemouth. I cashed out, so I reduced my liability here considerably. So I'll just wait for these matches to end and then I'll say good night to you. We need 3 quick goals from Liverpool in the last 3 minutes plus extra time. Hopefully they'll do some Fergie time. Ipswich and Wrexham, not going to be laying that draw because of that 0-0 and 1-0 Wrexham in the last 2 matches. Sudden switch to very defensive Wrexham means, yes, they are going to be a side to be reckoned with. They can continue being this hard to beat. And normally have goals in the locker as well. So we're just waiting for Bournemouth and Liverpool if there is any late action there. And in the meantime, I will start packing away. And we'll get... There we go. For those of you interested in Ethereum, breaking through the 5-minute barrier. So the next port of call is to break through this 30, which is extremely difficult. This is what the professionals look for. If it can break through the 200 EMA on the 30-minute chart, you've got a good chance of it going up, up and away. But you need extreme patience. Bournemouth, 117 momentum. I'm just going to pass this on to Telegram as possible. Lay the draw. We did play Bournemouth earlier on, but it's 115 momentum. So start to look to lay that draw as low odds as you can get. 3.74 expected goals as well. They're creating multiple quality chances. That draw could be vulnerable, Bournemouth and West Ham. Liverpool, well, my mistake with Liverpool. New manager syndrome, I should have factored that in before getting a full liability plate. Should have got involved at maybe 0-2 to Nottingham Forest, that kind of thing. Watching brief, post-international, pre-Champions League, etc., etc. I'm going to have to leave you now. I've got to move house and just prepare everything to move for a week or so, so my sister can stay with my folks. Have a great day. I might see you a bit later on when I'm settled at my brother's place. But the football this evening, we're going to be treading on eggshells with this post-international pre-Champions League malarkey. But Bournemouth knocking on the door of a winner late on. Target that late draw. You can see it yourself, can't you? Knocking on that door. Now, what you could do is just sacrifice a little bit of the profit made earlier. You could even just start backing Bournemouth, drip backing with a quid. Build up your position on Bournemouth. The neutral play, of course, is to lay the draw. What I'm going to do, I'm going to sacrifice 5 quid. 109, 106. They might score beforehand. 23 and 106. 32. So I've left that now. I don't have to monitor it. So we're looking for that momentum to produce a goal. Don't forget, they're performing like 1.675 now. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. I have to move house. Thanks very much for coming along. I hope to see you a little bit later on Telegram. But as you know, it's a very, very tricky weekend post-international pre-Champions League. But I will be on hand. Primary focus with the in-play stats. We do have some decent matches. Young Boys are favourite today, as you can see. They are one of my reliables when they are odds-on favourite. Juventus, another Champions League side, but they're playing at Fiorentina without a win this season. So a chance for the old lady to perhaps maybe have a bit of a jaded performance today, but deliver eventually. Have a great day. I've got to pack up the computer and move off. Let's see whether when I get to my brother's, Bournemouth would have produced the winner. Have a great day, and I'll see you again a little bit later.